And let's move on 3 hours later because we're back here in the studio recording because Al Horford just signed to a contract with the Boston Celtics for 4 years and $113 million, a max contract for Al Horford. We kind of mentioned a little bit in the KD talk, will Al Horford kind of draw in KD, but really let's talk about Al Horford just to the Boston Celtics. Do you like the move?
Well, it makes the Celtics compatible, and I mean, we're saying
compatible. Yeah, I like compatible.
Competitive.
You can tell we've been on a break.
You can tell that I just ate, but yeah, this makes the Celtics competitive to the fact where it's like we talked about the East earlier in the podcast where, okay, it's LeBron James's East, and it's his to win. Well, Al Horford coming over adds a certain element to the Celtics. If they could bring in now KD, it's a totally different conference.
KD, I mean, with or without KD. I'm just looking at this roster as it is.
They still lose to the Cavs.
They do.
Well, do they?
But
Yes.
with KD,
Who's going to
then
guard
they can
LeBron?
beat them. Yeah.
I mean, Jay can do a decent job.
Yeah,
but,
say Jay Crowder, the 3-and-D man whose 3 isn't so hot.
but I mean, still, it's LeBron James, so he's not going to be able to defend him. If Isaiah can play the way he did, and he could bring in Horford, I think this team can be very competitive. And we talked about the Pacers and the moves they liked, and we didn't really like the draft that the Celtics did because we wanted them to bring in a superstar. We wanted to see them make moves, but now looking at that Jaylen Brown pick, I mean, now he fills in that place that Evan Turner kind of left, where it's a guy who can drive to the basket and get you buckets.
Yep.
I mean,
but that's a guy who's going to have to develop a bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No,
I mean, he's coming off the
Let's
bench.
not forget everything we said about him.
No.
Draft.
He's got the potential. He could be a star. No one's doubting that. It's just he's got to grow, and he's going to come off the bench now. So adding Al Horford makes his life easier. I mean, I see this team being, a 2-3 in the East, and definitely can take a series. The big question here is, like you said, can Isaiah continue to either live up to the expectations that he set for himself last year, which were, I think he overperformed. I think he did a fantastic job, and no one really expected that out of him. But if they can really come around, and if he gets another performance like that, Al Horford comes in and finds his groove here, they can play off each other really well.
And the one thing, I think this kind of fed the fire for Horford to go to Boston is I'm looking at this article on CBS Sports, and they talk about 5 things that basically we're learning from this deal. And when they, in their point, like why he's perfect for Boston, they go on and say, well, he's a proven winner. He's made it to the playoffs this many times. And I look at that and I go, okay, he's made it to the playoffs every year, but who has he lost to a lot in the playoffs? LeBron James.
Yeah. Probably
looking at this Boston roster saying, hey, if I was on this roster, if KD came over, I can get over that. We can get over that LeBron James hump.
So is this like step one of the Celtics
This
plan?
has got to be step one because, I mean, at first I looked at it and went, okay, well, KD's probably going to go back to the Thunder, and I probably am still on that side. However, Sean, you said to us before we hit the record button for this one that Boston does have the money to bring KD over. They can make a trade to get another max deal. I'm not going to go into 2K, but there's possibilities here.
No, they have the money. All they have to do is just
two full contracts,
for
right?
2, and then they'd have to make a trade for 3, you said.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the max, they can give KD a max right now.
No,
they don't
that's
have to
what
make
So
it.
we could end up with something silly like KD, Horford, and Boogie on the same team.
Basically.
I'm thinking something else.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, and this is KD can even choose to go to the Thunder for this. I'm thinking Horford's in Boston.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take my 1 year in OKC, and then next year I'll bring Russell with me.
But then Isaiah's expendable.
So?
Isaiah's expendable right now.
Would you
Yeah,
rather
I
have
don't know about
Isaiah or
that.
Russell Westbrook?
Isaiah's your second best player right now.
Especially if the Thunder don't go
if it's
anywhere.
Isaiah versus Russ, then
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna argue that.
I said I'm not like I didn't want to go 2K, but that could be a far out possibility with KD pulling some master string.
I could see them making some moves this season because, like we talked about, they have a lot of depth and they have a lot of assets. So they can shift those around. They can go get somebody else that's really talented to help them out, a near all-star maybe, and they have no problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the roster right now, I mean, what they would have to do to sign KD, they would have to cut Amir Johnson, they would have to cut Jonas Jerebko, but those are not guaranteed money, so they can just drop them right away, and there would be no worries or anything like that. They just drop him and then boom, they have KD on their team. But I mean, is Al Horford enough to draw him in? Because Kevin Durant, there's Woj dropped something saying that Kevin Durant has been recruiting Horford to OKC, but Horford eliminated OKC because he wasn't he wasn't sure if KD or West would actually stay long term in OKC. But if Horford's staying and KD signs with him, do you think that kind of gives them enough there?
I think it's one of those things where, and the one reason why I threw out that Westbrook thing was I think that KD, it's one of those things where it's like, man, I want to look out for my buddy Russ. But at the same time, in the NBA, we saw it with LeBron. It's about who you want to go play with. I mean, there's even been talks where, and I know that these are like the far out ones. I know that the big three was the closest thing to this, but where it's like, yeah, I'd love to play with Melo, D Wade, and CP3 on the same team. So these guys all want to play for each other. And if Horford's already in Boston and KD had a meeting with Boston already, we don't know what was said in that meeting. Hey, you know what? This could be a good move to bring in KD to Boston. And if I'm the one fan base that's the most worried when it comes to the KD sweepstakes because of this, it's the Clippers. Because you had a great meeting, and now it's like, oh, well, maybe the Boston Celtics are in play.
Yeah, I think that definitely just brought up. I do want to say that. I agree with you. I think they won up the Clippers by bringing in Al Horford. I think
they did too, but I think, and plus, KD won't have to take a pay cut. But I think
that's huge too.
I think anyone outside of Golden State and OKC weren't really too high on their chances. I mean,
no, but I feel like this would put the Celtics into at least a competitive realm.
They're top three.
Because I feel like the Clippers, you're still going to face, I'm still in the West. I still got to go through the gauntlet.
You just
go over to the
Celtics. LeBron in the East. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that KD, I think him going to the Celtics is more likely than him going to the Clippers or the Spurs now. I think they definitely taken the maybe they're kind of tied now with the Warriors, kind of depending on how that meeting went and how that all talk went out. But I mean, Al Horford, just in general, I mean, if they don't get KD or KD signs with a 1 year, then maybe the talks reopen next year. The Celtics lineup right now would be Isaiah Thomas at point. Shooting guard would be Avery Bradley. Small forward would be Jay Crowder. Power forward would be Amir Johnson, because Johnson wouldn't have to be cut right now because they have him on the team. They would have to cut him if they sign Durant. And then center would be Al Horford. Is that a team that can be top three in the East in your mind?
Absolutely.
I think they can even, depending on how the Raptors do, because the Raptors didn't lose much. Really, They only lost Bismack Biyombo. But depending on how they play head-to-head, and how the just wins and losses of we got one game here, we didn't get one there. Celtics could be the second best team in the East. They could be the 2 seed.
Yeah, I think at this point the 2 seed is between the Celtics,
the Raptors,
and I would even toss in the Pacers.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I think all those three teams are all similar as far as the talent they bring to the table. The win totals, I think we saw last year, they were extremely close. They're going to be the same way. It's going to be down to the wire this year.
You know who this is horrible for, though? Atlanta out of the playoffs.
No,
not even a playoff.
God,
no, you're out of your mind.
God, no. What are you talking about?
Don't think they're a playoff
You are out
team.
of your
I would say
mind.
Pistons would drop before them.
Nope.
No way. What are you talking about?
You still have Dwight Howard on that team now. I don't think
Atlanta's
we
still a
mentioned
top
early,
6 team.
Let's see
Top 8.
what happens with bringing Dwight in.
Worst case scenario, they're an 8 seed in my mind. I think that worst case they get in at the 8.
I don't think they fall that much. All right. So Cleveland's number 1 right now. I would say if KD comes in, we'll obviously have to have a discussion. Who's
then
better.
The next 3 in any order are Raptors, Celtics, Pacers.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta.
See, I don't know. I don't know.
Atlanta's better than Charlotte. Atlanta's better than Detroit right now.
See, I think Detroit added enough pieces, and by re-signing Drummond, they're stacked there. They got themselves a backup point guard who can run an offense now.
But he can't shoot.
But he can at least get to the hole.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. I think that Detroit can definitely compete for that 5.
It really, to me, with this next spot... I think they could,
but I don't think Atlanta's out of this.
With this next spot, it really depends on what we talked about earlier with D Wade. Depends on if D Wade goes back to Miami. I'm putting Miami as a playoff team.
What?
But if he doesn't,
I'm going to be the jinx here and say the Knicks.
if the Knicks get Wade, like that could be a swing
I wasn't
No,
saying.
not
I
getting
wasn't
Wade.
saying.
They just
I was
got-
just
just
saying.
signed Courtney Lee.
Knicks.
Just signed Courtney
But
Lee.
I'm saying not
Yeah.
only a healthy Knicks, but if they get Wade and
Yeah.
Wade doesn't go to Miami, Miami may not be a playoff team.
Right. No, I agree with you
Yeah.
there.
And then
Miami's
it's like,
playoff
okay,
hopes are
fine,
there.
Miami's not the playoff team and Atlanta is.
See,
But I think the Knicks.
Atlanta's making the playoffs. That's
I think the Knicks are in too. So I think the team that falls out is
Hornets?
Charlotte. Charlotte's the odd man out, and Miami, depending on if Wade resigns, the health of Chris Bosh, and who they're going to fill in depth wise because they let a bunch of their veterans go this offseason. So those are the three teams that are like you've got a good chance of falling out of the top 8.
And let's talk about this. I mean, I'm not saying one conference is better than the other, and obviously, if we look at the top 3, I think the top 4 teams, 3 of them come from the West. But do you think this makes the East the more competitive of the conference? Because I'm not saying which one's better, because I think most teams would say
Competitive playoff race throughout. That's what I would say.
I think the teams are closer, definitely. And in the East, I think if you look at that 2 through maybe even 10, I think
everyone
that'll
but
be
the Cavs.
Yeah, I think the Cavs are in their own bracket right now until proven otherwise.
or unless KD signs with Boston.
You could put, you could put
that
the
would just be
Cavs in the
shattering
West, and
to
they'd
the
be the
East.
top 4 teams. They'd be
Right.
like, go have fun with the guys who actually compete.
No, I mean, 2 through 10 in the East is very close. Very close.
I think looking at this, Philly's definitely not making the playoffs.
Well.
Brooklyn's not making the playoffs. Milwaukee's not making the playoffs, and the Bulls aren't making the playoffs. Other than that, I would probably make
The
an
Bulls
argument.
are interesting.
No,
I don't,
they're not.
I'm not
They're not
saying
making the playoffs.
no.
If they
I'm not
sign
saying they
Rondo,
are.
if they pick up somebody else, there's a chance they
get
can
an
grab
8
enough
seed
scraps.
at the most, but
They're
I don't
not beating.
expect
They're
it.
not beating the Hawks.
I'd like to think they're going to win about 30 to 35 games.
Yeah,
and that's not going to make it.
No. So I would say Philly's out, Brooklyn's out, Milwaukee's out, Chicago's out. Unless Chicago has some
But
crazy
here,
year.
let me throw a wrench in there. Let's say, and I don't think it's going to happen, let's say with Milwaukee, Thon Maker comes out and is just
becomes a
fucking
25-year-old beast that he is.
The 25-year-old
49-year-old
beast that he
man.
is. Wade goes to Miami, or not Miami, Milwaukee. Does that make them a playoff team?
Maybe it
Because to me,
makes them competitive.
that's the next. Like now that Horford's there, yeah, KD's the biggest free agent, but in the East, the biggest swing piece.
What if Dwayne Wade
is
goes to
Wade.
the Celtics?
I don't think
Maybe.
it's.
I hate playing this.
It's
But
my.
why not,
No,
Ricky?
no. It's the Knicks.
What if
the
he goes
Bucks,
to the
and Heat.
Hornets? Takes a pay cut.
It's the Knicks, the Bucks,
His
and the
dad-
I
Heat.
mean, you just said the Celtics have the money.
His grandpa's from Charlotte.
Boom.
It's the Knicks. Come on, guys. It's the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Heat.
I'm sorry, 2K Ricky.
Whoever he goes to, Heat, Knicks, Bucks. That team, I could say playoff.
They
The
become
Knicks
a-
are out. The Knicks are out.
The Knicks
They
are
just
out.
signed
They signed
Courtney
Courtney Lee. Yeah.
So the Knicks aren't going to go get him. The Knicks. I don't see the Knicks going out
but
and getting.
I
and
mean-
the Bucks and the Heat. The Bucks could be an outside shot, a sleeper, if they get Wade away from Miami.
Okay, so let's just go. But I'm talking about the teams right now. Philly's
is,
out.
yep.
Brooklyn's out. Chicago's out. Then we'll throw
The Magic are out.
Milwaukee's out, and Magic I feel like can be competitive, but yeah, I would
They're not
throw
gonna-
them out.
yeah.
Washington.
That's gonna be interesting.
Healthy Bradley Beal, healthy John Wall, Gortat down low. You've got a
New coach
dangerous
coming in.
backcourt.
Morris too.
Yeah.
I mean,
New coach coming in who has proven to make the playoffs at least. in the
Yeah,
West.
so I think that team has a lot to shine.
I think the 8 teams that made it, and then you could say Washington can be competitive. New York can be competitive. I think Orlando can be competitive. I think they can be at least
They
one
might
of the
fall off a
last
little,
3
but
teams
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I think, but
That's fair.
I think for sure Brooklyn and Philly obviously aren't competing. But yeah, I think this is a very tight race in the East. I mean, it's hard not to say, but Horford. Do you think he kind of puts up the same numbers? Do you think he kind of falls, or do you think he has a better year than he's ever had?
I think he has similar numbers. I think his kind of play where he can kind of roll out on pick and rolls. He
And
can
Isaiah
be on the
with
baseline.
a true pick and roll player.
He fits in
they
with this
both get
Boston
better.
team. Yeah, he fits in with it and doesn't have to change his
The
game
problem is
much,
they still don't have the true shooter that they need.
which
And
would be
that's-
Durant.
Well, I mean,
Not true
shooting.
shooter,
Are you talking
but
about
he's-
like outside shooting? Or
Yes.
you just talk. Well, I mean, Avery Bradley's not terrible.
No,
And-
but I
and-
mean, when you watch the playoff series, it was like
he was
they needed someone to knock down shots for him.
yeah, he was hurt, and Jay Crowder, I think he shot 33% from the field in the regular
Inconsistent.
season.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he can pick that up a little bit, that would help. Marcus
They
Smart's
could
not
also
gonna
make a trade
develop
for a
shot.
shooter.
Well, that's the thing.
They
Like,
could.
we talked about that. They have a ton of assets. They can make mid-year moves like nobody else.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at that, I mean, they have the Brooklyn pick for next year, which I mean, if we're saying Brooklyn's not making the playoffs, I think going up against that
And
East,
they have
that's going to be
rights to
competitive.
swap. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Nets that next pick becomes really important, and then the more question comes out like who would be on the trading block next year that they would kind of go, because we always throw in Boogie there, but maybe
Boogie's too easy.
maybe they just play bully ball and just completely dominate there.
But if you let Boogie go, if you picked up Boogie, you can move Horford to power forward, which he would love. I think you can clear out some of those bigs that you have down low, because you don't need 4 power forwards. I mean,
no.
They're stacked at the position.
You don't need to become the Kings right now at center.
Jesus Christ, no. But no, I mean, the problem is that there's not a ton of depth at the spots they need. They need shooting guard who can knock down shots for you. DeRozan was the number 1 available. Beal was number 2. Both those guys got taken out already. So now you're looking at like 2nd and 3rd tier guys who may be a slight improvement, but at the same time, you're risking team chemistry. So it's like, is it really worth pulling the trigger on somebody like that?
Well, let's say they don't get KD. What players currently available do you think they kind of go after, if they go after anyone at all? Because, I mean, if we're talking about shooting, Brandon Jennings as a scorer, I don't know if he's really going to bring that much shooting. Right. Kevin Martin in his prime was a very good shooter there.
Yep.
Jamal Crawford off the bench. I mean, he's been 6th man of the year so many times.
Yeah.
You could throw that out there. Is there any guy that's like, all right, I mean, JR's even out there. Is there any guy that's
if they threw money at JR, I think that'd be an interesting move. I don't know if JR might be loyal to Cleveland, won championship. I don't see him walking for it, but he would be a great addition.
But if Cleveland's not going to throw money,
as much shit as we give JR, he's one of the streakiest shooters, and when he gets hot, he is like fucking on fire.
He will shoot the
lights out.
He got hot and hit the shots at the right time.
He can absolutely change a series. So I think that they honestly, that as crazy as it sounds, making the play on JR, I don't know if a max contract is worth it, but if you don't get Kevin Durant, I look to them to pick up one other addition. I'm not quite sure who would help them the most.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to kind of look and see what's going to happen. But I think looking at the Celtics team, they've definitely become a top team in the East. I think it's hard to dispute that in that side. Is there any other stuff from this Horford signing that really changes anything on the landscape? Or do you think any on the KD side going to Boston, anything that kind of changes there? Is it still 90% for KD to going to Thunder?
The KD thing, it makes things interesting in the fact because do I think he still goes back to the Thunder? Yes. But the thing now is, at first I was thinking, well, if the Thunder don't make the finals or don't win the finals, he leaves and, he'll go to the Clippers because they blew him away. But now if he goes back and then is going to leave next year, Boston becomes the prime spot.
We don't know anything about that Clippers thing, too. They could blow him away. That doesn't mean he wants to go there. So
that's true.
That thing, that's kind of
We're reading a lot
into
a single comment.
Yeah, that thing's kind of iffy for me. I mean, unless he's come out and say, like, I really want to
I'm sure he respects Doc Rivers. The organization's fantastic. But at the same time, it's like sharing the ball. They've got a lot. They've got an interesting dynamic in LA. So I don't know necessarily if the fit is quite right for KD. It's weird to say because you'd think KD, drop him in ever. Everybody wants KD, but I don't know how that offense-defense switch would work, and it gets messy. Plus, Doc's got to take care of his own son.
There's also talk about that the KD talks is still going on. So, I mean, they might still be talking to him about this, and especially with the Horford move.
This could be a thing where, this happens, and now KD's like, well, shit, I got to think about this a little bit more.
And, hey, let's talk cause and effect here. If KD somehow signs with the Clippers need to clear some cap space to make that happen. A guy that would be expendable to them is J.J. Redick. We're talking about the Celtics needing shooting.
Boom.
They work out a 3-team deal, is that what you're saying?
I don't know, why do you need to be a 3-team deal?
Well, like, you get Kevin Durant, we'll take J.J. Redick from your hands. Like, how would that all play out?
KD signs with the Clippers, and then they trade J.J. Redick to the Celtics.
For what? What would
probably
they get?
Future
draft picks. I mean, they have 15,000 somewhere lined up there. I don't know.
Even any stash and drafting stashes.
Yeah, we're talking about a team that's so deep, at least from future picks. I mean, Boston can move anyone.
The problem is they need to turn those future picks into wins in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and they've got the ammo. They just need to pull the trigger. Al Horford's a great first step.
They drafted Bento. They drafted Ubuzli. They drafted Zizic. So I mean, obviously they have a lot of assets there. So I mean, if it happens, maybe J.J. Redick's and Boston agree, which Boston might become my favorite team.
That'd be pretty cool.
And if I'm Russell Westbrook, I'm just sitting there. I'm calling KD right now, like, come on, man. Come on, don't let
this doesn't change anything.
Don't let this sway you.
You, me, Depot, we got this.
Ride or die, brother.
I asked you at the end of the KD stuff. By July 4th, what jersey will KD be wearing on the start of the season?
Yep. Still Thunder.
By 2017, what jersey is he wearing? It's still the Clippers. You said the Clippers.
Now because of this, and we came back to it, it's either Thunder or Boston, depending on if they win the title or go.
You said Clippers. Now you're changing.
Now I'm changing to Boston. Yeah.
Going no jersey. He's JR in it because he won a championship.
With the Thunder?
With you're calling that this early?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Bold predictions.
You can't change that now.
Bold prediction.
You can't change that now.
Thunder is the change. Who they beating? You know yet?
I ain't saying that.
They beating the Cavs?
I'm just going bold prediction.
They beating the Cavs?
He's going shirtless.
Okay.
I'll change my Wizards pick to Boston. But yeah, we're gonna wrap that up. We came back. We hit the grind, and we're all done now. So thank you for listening. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, hit that like button, repost this to all your friends. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe down below. We're close to 3,000, and we're doing a roast of someone of MVP. So do not miss that out. They just roasted me, and I just shaved for them. So yeah, if you are listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. And if you do want to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod. You can follow me, Sean, on Twitter at Schwarbo. You can follow Ricky on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Dave_don't tweet. You can even check out our Snapchat at Most Valuable Pod. That's going to wrap this up, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.